Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, people watching at home and wherever you're watching this from. Again, we've got another special guest, special team as well. We've got Michael Meadows from City of Liverpool FC. So how are you doing tonight, Michael?
Yeah, really good. Thanks for having us on.
No worries at all, man. You know what? I've been watching from afar quite recently, like your team and what your team involves and what you're about. So I'm just more curious, and I just wanted to find out a little bit more about you. So yeah, but first, before we get into that, how are you guys doing with all of this year? In fact, you know, it's been a whirlwind year to put it lightly.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a whirlwind on a number of fronts, really, because it was a bit of a baptism of fire for us to join. We got promoted to the Northern Premier League last season. It was null and voided, which was exciting for us to kind of learn how to adjust to that level, really, and get used to that side of football. And then obviously in March time, the season obviously stopped due to the pandemic. And then we had to adjust to all the different facets of that as well, and making sure that we were not only thinking of the football side of stuff, but also with our involvement with our community and all those kind of things as well. So it's been a bit stop and start, as well as I'm sure a lot of your viewers who are involved with non-league and grassroots teams will know as well. It's been hard to really get going and get some kind of real consistency of matches back to back because all you need is for a team to have a few cases, testing positive or need to isolate, and then all of a sudden you've got games cancelled and stuff. So it's been kind of learning on your feet, really, I think, and it's not too much that I've been doing towards that. That's the people who are higher up at the club and the management and the playing staff who've kind of had to take that on board more. But it's definitely been interesting.
Yeah, that's again, interesting is like putting it politely. Do you know what I mean? This year it's been crazy. I mean, even quite recently we've come out of lockdown part 2. I mean, that sounds like a bad movie right there, lockdown part 2. And then obviously now we've got Christmas coming up, so there's always going to be games cancelled and all the rest of it. And then recently we've been put into tier systems as well. I mean, how have you guys been affected? Obviously you're up in Liverpool, so how have you guys been affected by it?
Well, we were kind of the guinea pigs for the kind of tier system, because we went straight into tier 3. And I appreciate for the authorities, it's a case of this being so unprecedented, it's difficult to make decisions, and obviously decisions will change and stuff as well. So for us being in tier 3, we had to carry on playing our games, because there's only a few clubs across the country who were in tier 3 at that point, or certainly at our level. So ourselves, I know Prescott Cables were playing all their games behind closed doors at one point. We were in our league, we played against them behind closed doors. And then obviously it's a movable feast, so now the tier system impacting a lot more clubs. When we moved out of tier 3 meant that whilst we were able to play, there were a lot of clubs at our level across the Trident setup that we're affiliated to, who were unable to play. So it was kind of a movable feast where we were able to, because there's only a few of us. But when it impacted a lot more clubs, there's obviously a lot more clubs who are going to be financially impacted as well. Yeah. So it's kind of just kind of rolling with the punches a little bit in that respect, because you just don't know what's going to happen. So
yeah, you don't know what's going to happen at all, because it's just like, I feel, and this is my words, not your words, but I feel like they're just making it up as they go along. Like it really does. It feels like it's made up as it's going along. Like, oh yeah, you can come out for a little bit. No, you can't come out. Like, come on, which one is it? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's
I think a lot of the action that's the lobbying that's taken place from various county FAs, various local organisations, councils and stuff. That's been really good, because it's shown solidarity amongst communities, and people are really understanding that the football clubs are the lifeblood of communities, especially at our level. The amount of work that football clubs do, the amount of people who are now recognising that football clubs at our level, they're a fundamental mental health positive outcome for people. It's a chance for people to escape daily life, to go and escape work life, to go and have a couple of hours to meet their friends and stuff, and to have that social interaction as well. I think, especially in the current climate, it's been a godsend for a lot of people, and to not have that for people as well, I think it's been particularly troubling for people who haven't seen their friends for so many months and stuff. And I mean, I'm lucky, because as part of my role within the club, I've still been able to experience the matches and go to stuff, because obviously we need to do media coverage. But a lot of my friends who I've been going to the match with since the club was formed, They've not been able to go, and they've been reliant on streams, on us doing, radio broadcasts, on Twitter updates and stuff. And whilst that's really good that clubs are able to do that, it's not the same as going to match with your mates, is it?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, even watching all these games, like Premier League games on where it is, on Amazon or whatever, it's not the same. Do you know what I mean? You can pump in as much crowd noise as you can and try and make it interactive as you can, but it's not the same as, being at these games, and especially with grassroots, you can't really. I mean, I don't think many teams have got to the point where you can actually stream grassroots games. I'm sure it'll happen. I'm sure it'll come soon, but it's just not the same as actually being there in the flesh.
100%.
Yeah, look, as I said before at the start, I want to take this time to kind of get to know City of Liverpool more as a club. So, talk me through like the birth of the club. Sorry, how did you come up with the idea? And then talk me from there, really.
Well, the official club history establishes the club as being formed officially in 2015, but the actual process to the club existing goes back as far as I think it's 2008. There's a handful of people who were involved in the founding membership of the club. So the original discussions that took place that led to the club being formed go back as far as 2008. Initially, the club was officially formed in 2015, and it was formed without us having a place to play. It was formed without us having an official confirmation of a league that we were going to be playing in. So that was kind of how that kind of started. I first came across the club just on my commute to work. There was the chairman, Paul Manning, was on the radio on Radio City Talk, talking to the local presenter, Mick Coyle there. So I listened to him before it must have been a good year before I actually went to watch the club for the first time in August 2016, just as a fan. So it started there, and then the process to the club actually, forming. It was in late 2015, I believe, and then they had a short window to apply to join the league they wanted to join. And the setup was the Northwest Counties, football league setup, which was then called the Hallmark Security League. And they wanted to enter Step 6, which was Division 1. When they originally applied, they were expecting to be granted permission to join the league and granted an invitation, and that was initially declined. And then they eventually managed to get us, to be accepted to the league because there was a team called, I think it was Northwich Manchester Villa, and they resigned from the league, which then presented a place. And then because we had a right to appeal. Peter Firmage, who's our vice chairman, and our chairman Paul Manning went down to a panel in London to appeal the decision, and they were granted permission to join the league. So by that point, we had appointed a manager by that point, which was Simon Burton, who was the first manager of the club, and he joined the club without us having any players, without us having a ground, without us having a league, and then it all kind of stemmed from there. So it was quite a lengthy process to get to the point where we were even appointed to a league, really.
That is quite ambitious, just to start a team with no players, no grounds, or not even a league to enter. Like, you just thought, you know what, I'm going to start a team. Is that it?
Well, there was a long discussion before that with regards to the attitudes and values of the club, and there was the wish to have a club that fully represents the Liverpool City region, that represents what the region stands for, and represents the fact that Liverpool has long been a massive hotbed for football. For such a small city, the amount of professional footballers that have come out of the club, come out of the city through non-league and progressing upwards. Players like Ricky Lambert, for example, who came up through the non-league setup, went the other way with it. And then you've got all the players like Steven Gerrard, the players, Leighton Baines, from Everton, all the big names that you know of, and then countless more who've come through the academy system and have kind of fell out, and then ended up going through non-league or the lower league systems and go low down the football league. So there's when you look at the size of the city versus the amount of footballers that the city's created, Liverpool has a long standing relationship with football and contributing to the game in England. So I think that's kind of replicated in what we wanted to do to kind of celebrate there being a club to be proud of in the Liverpool City area, which there wasn't actually a non-league club to my knowledge anyway. I think that was in the actual Liverpool City boundaries. So that's what our club's looking to do, looking to be that team. And now there's been more teams that have come up in that area as well who've it's a massive hotbed for football now. There's clubs like Lower Breck who are doing brilliantly as well. Lower down the Northwest County setup as well. So it's non-league football and grassroots football in general, but non-league football in Liverpool's, it's absolutely thriving at the moment.
Wow. I mean, talk to me about this, because I remember seeing a graphic earlier today with the Liverpool shirt X'd out, the Everton shirt X'd out, and then your shirt like prominent, or your club prominent. Was it kind of like was it started in rebellion to those two clubs, or is it support of those two clubs? Is there rivalry? Obviously, you're not in the same league, but
yeah. No, it's not like a protest club or like a rebellionist, in that regard. No, I mean, what we've always said is, as a club, we're here for Liverpool and Everton fans to come whenever they want to. Since the club was formed, we actually put on coaches, because we're not too far away from Anfield and Goodison. So if Liverpool have an early kickoff, for example, then we'll put a bus on from outside Anfield, so people can get out of the Liverpool game, jump on the bus, and then still make our kickoff as well. And then likewise, if there's a game on, say Everton are playing at 5:30, if our game finishes at 10-5, the club has often put coaches on to transport people up to Goodison Park, so you can go and support both. We've always said that as a club, we're here for supporters of Liverpool and Everton to come whenever they want to. It's not to say you can't support Liverpool, or we've got to be your first club. We're realistic in the fact that these clubs have existed long before we have. We've got a great relationship with both of those clubs, going forward. So as far as we're concerned, it's actually a common misconception that the fact that we play in purple is because of Liverpool and Everton combined with the red and blue. The purple is actually
that's what I thought. That's my next question.
The purple's the civic colours of Liverpool, so that's the reason why we opted for that. Given the name City Liverpool, obviously you've got the purple in the badge there as well. So it's the civic colours of Liverpool, and obviously people will always reference the fact that the wheelie bins in Liverpool are purple bins as well. So
you're literally just taking my next question. That's what I thought. I thought the club badge was purple because it's red from Liverpool and blue from Everton combined. You must get that question all the time. Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense now. Okay, so it's a single.
What we kind of find as well with it is that it's really cool the way that, like, when Liverpool and Everton fans come to watch the game, the kind of rivalry between Liverpool and Everton's left at the door. When people come in to support us, they come to support our team. They know what our values are. They know, the amount of our fans who are die-hard Liverpool fans. I mean, I'm a massive Liverpool fan, and all my mates are as well, who come to the game with me. And the values that the club has ourselves, and we've got loads of Everton fans who come as well. There's never any kind of rivalry between Liverpool and Everton fans at the match. Everyone leaves at the door, and it's all fair supporting our team and trying to help the lads for 3 points.
So there's not like you have to be a Liverpool fan to play in our team, or you have to be an Everton fan to support our club. It's all one love sort of thing when you're at the ground, and then once you're out there, you can do your own sort of thing afterwards.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like, even the players who play for the team. I mean, it's split right down the middle in terms of Liverpool and Everton, fans and players. I think who's been through which academy system, who's supports which club. We've had players who've been from all over the place, who've supported all kinds of teams. We've had lads who've supported Manchester teams in the past, I think, and been from all over the place. So yeah, it's kind of split right down the middle, and it's really good the way that the club is, because we like the fact that we want to be there for both fans of both clubs to come to and have a great relationship with both sides. So it's not kind of like there's no kind of like petty rivalry or squabbling between fans of either club. It's great the way when everyone comes along, it's to get right behind the Purps.
Nah, love that. Behind the Purps as well. That kind of leads me on to my next one as well. So the kit is absolutely amazing, man. That red, that purple as well, mixed in there as well with the stripe. Beautiful. Like, who's behind that?
Well, the kits. I think the kits have been designed. Certainly last season, there was a number of kit designs that were actually voted on by our membership, because we are a fully member-owned club. So it's a community. It's a completely community club. It's owned by the community, owned by its members and supporters. So there's no kind of like benefactor. So that was something that we actually got to. We were presented with some options for last season to vote on. This season we're in a partnership with Puma now. So there was a couple of templates that the club were offered, and we opted for the one we've got this season, which is a nice Puma number. I think previously there've been options that have been put forward by, I think it's Peter Firmage who's been involved with that. I might be mistaken, but he's been involved with that aspect of things. And we've actually got a third kit this season. You might be aware of the community work that the club does, and we've got like a nominated third kit, which I don't think we'll be allowed to play in this season, but it's been adopted by the club, and it was designed by some of our refugee football team. We've got a football within our Colosseum, the community organisation, which I'm a part of with my colleague Sean, who's our founder. We've got a refugee football team which provides a safe and inclusive environment for refugees in the city to make new friends with Scousers. We play 50-50, Scousers and refugees and asylum seekers. And we asked the lads from the refugees to design a kit with us, and the club has adopted that as our third kit, which we've sold quite a lot of units for online, and all the proceeds for that have gone towards the refugees to give them football kit, training gear, to help them to play football for free as well, and to basically build on that aspect of our community pledge with them.
No, I love that as well, and I love the fact that you're making the wider community so inclusive within your club, man. I really love that as well. Talk to me about this current crop of players, because we were talking offline, we were talking about personalities. In fact, before we talk about that, let me just show this. Here
it comes! Here it comes! Oreo! Kevin! Oreo! He doesn't have defenders! Oreo! He never gives the ball away!
Who is that underneath that horse head? I mean,
that's our central midfielder, Kev McKellen. He's been with the club since the first season. He joined a few games into the first season, and that came about because we just won the league. So we were in a nail-biting final 2 weeks of the season. We'd led the league for pretty much the whole season in the North West Counties Premier Division. And then with 1 week to go, our landlords, Bootle, who've been on an amazing 20-game winning run, or unbeaten run, should I say. I think it was 19-game winning run, and they beat us in the penultimate game of the season and went past us in the league, so they were in the box seat. And I think Kev had actually brought that in his kit bag the week before, and if we won the league, he was going to get it out, and he forgot about it. So we'd lost the game. Bootle were expected to win the league, and then a week later, we had the final game of the season. Bootle played at home against Northwich Victoria, and they drew 1-1, and we won against Earlham and won the league. So there was absolute pandemonium scenes, and then that video came out from the dressing room afterwards as the lads were celebrating in there, and Kev opened his kit bag, and I believe I heard him talking about it on a podcast recently. I think he opened his kit bag and then found it there, and he forgot about it, so he just flashed it on in the toilets and came back out.
Oh man, listen, it's always good to have characters like that in the dressing room. I mean, they always make things a lot better, especially during moments like that. But yeah, shout out to him as well. And yeah, obviously I heard you guys have been busy, obviously this season, despite the lack of games as well. Been busy in the cup competitions as well. So talk to me about that as well.
So the season started, obviously when we're talking about the players as well, we had quite a large kind of, I wouldn't say squad overhaul, but there's a lot of change in the summer because last season didn't go the way we wanted it to. So the manager, who was our manager at the start of the season, Craig Robinson, he's the manager who got us promoted. So he oversaw, some changes in the summer. He wants to bring in some more players and stuff. So we changed quite a lot of personnel, and then wanting to be more competitive. The season started with a great win in the FA Cup, a 3-0 win at Glossop North End. And then when the league season started, we didn't start too great. We lost the first 3 league games, and we had quite a heavy defeat in the next round of the FA Cup, which saw us knocked out against Morpeth Town. So at that point, Craig and the club parted company by mutual consent, and we appointed a new manager. And the new manager is Michael Ellison, who was the very successful manager at Runcorn Linnets and a very successful player there as well. So he came in October, and his first game, he hadn't even taken a training session because the way it had come around and stuff, he just managed to speak to the players and stuff, I think, and we actually went and won our first game of the season 5-2 away from home. It was supposed to be a home game, but because of COVID shut our ground. or Brutal's ground, should I say, who's our landlord. So unfortunately, the ground was shut, so we had to reverse it to an away game. So we went there and won 5-2, and it kind of picked up from there. So the form's been a lot better. We then had a 2-2 against Prescott Cables, which was very good, but we should have won that game. We should have been about 5-0 up at half time, but it was great. The instant change was brilliant. And then we've been a lot better since then. Won quite a few games. And then on the eve of lockdown 2, we went to Everton Collieries, who are in the league above us, in the FA Trophy. I think we were 50-1 to win that game somehow, and we ended up winning 3-0. So we absolutely battered them in all areas. We were massively superior. Had a few new players in, a new keeper, Theo Roberts, who's dropped down a few leagues to play for us. I think he's dropped down from the National League North. A new forward, Mitch Bryant, who was at Man United and Reading, and been really good at a number of clubs. He's been around a lot of clubs at our level. He was brilliant for I think it was one of the Welsh teams last season. So he came in and got a goal in his debut, and we won 3-0 there. And then in the next round, we had another tough tie away behind closed doors at Buxton, who were higher up in the pyramid as well than us, and we won 2-1 there, which was thanks to a brace from the player that we affectionately know as the Purple Messi, Jack Hazelhurst.
Can I just stop you there? I want to show that goal right now. So show one of his goals. Here we go.
Be a bit of added time, but not.
It was a brilliant strike from 10.
Number 10, shot out of the blue. Well, if anybody was going to win it for them, it was Jack Hazelhurst.
But I think you look at it, Buxton should be dealing with that better there. And I think it's a brilliant strike, but there's chances to clear the ball and get close to the man. And he's found the top corner, and Tommy Taylor can't do a lot about that. But I think it'll be frustration for Buxton, that one.
The Purple Messi. I like that. The Purple Messi. Talk to me about him, man.
So Jack has come through to us from the Liverpool Football College. He was part of the victorious Dallas Cup, the prestigious Dallas Cup winning side for them a few years ago, and he joined us. I think when he first started playing for us, he was only just turned 18. I think just turned 21. And I think a lot of the time when those big moments come up in games, it's 9 times out of 10 it's Jack. He scored a brace against I think it was in the FA Cup last season against Warrington Town, and one of them was an absolute worldie. And he's a very talented player. He's unfortunately last season we missed him big time. He had a number of quite niggling injuries last season, which just every time he came back, he'd kind of get it again, and he just he was struggling to get a few games back to back, and the fans love him. The fans have got so many songs about him, and he's got a great relationship with our supporters as well. He's very highly regarded by everyone at the club, and especially when there's moments like that. But it was funny during that game because with it being behind closed doors, I was doing the commentary for the game on Purps FM with 2 of our directors behind the other goal. And when that went in, we just absolutely lost it. It was absolutely brilliant. He scored a nice finish in the first half in front of us, which was quite a devastating 5-pass counter attack that cut Buxton apart. And then when that went in, because Buxton had equalised quite late on in fortuitous fashion as well, it was quite sweet for such a good goal to be scored. And obviously our manager Michael was delighted by that as well.
Now, Michael, we've got the January transfer window coming up quite rapidly, quite soon, in fact. How much would the Purple Messi be worth in next window?
He's priceless. You can't put a number on Jack. He's absolutely priceless. No, he's I think he's been fundamental to how well we've done in recent weeks, because since Michael Ellison's come in charge, it's coincided with Jack getting back to full fitness and getting back involved. I think Jack did come off the bench to score a 30-yard free kick on the first game of the season when we lost 4-2 at home to Marsk, and he scored a lovely free kick in that game to make it 3-2, and then Marsk scored a few minutes later to give themselves a bit of breathing space. But But yeah, Jack's he's priceless. He's a great player, a great lad as well.
I love that. Unfortunately, obviously, you got knocked out the next round. Is that correct? By Darlington, from the northeast. Sorry, what was you going to say? Sorry.
Yeah, well, that was last night. Yeah, so we went up to Darlow last night. I didn't go myself. One of my colleagues, one of my mates, Sam, went down for it last night. So Sam and Adam May were doing our commentary last night for us. Did a great job. I was watching the feed for it as well, and the lad did us proud. It was another massive test for us because Darlington are a lot higher up the pyramid. I think it's 2 or 3 leagues above. I think, and you know. We were competitive. I think it was more towards the end of the game that kind of their experience and kind of the higher level kind of told. But we had a number of opportunities to score, and we were quite unlucky. Darlow went ahead with an absolute worldie from about 30 yards out, which the keeper had no chance with. And they've done us proud. It was really good. We were really competitive from the lads this season. And to show that we can compete with sides of that level, I think that shows that the club's got aspirations to kick on and to improve our league form, which we've been doing so recently. There's been a lot of players who've come in as well since Michael, took charge, and we're starting to look like a side that's being moulded in his image now, and the side that we saw that was so good against us when he managed limits against the Purps the last few seasons. So it was good to see. Obviously, in the last 2 rounds, we beat sides in the league above us. And then last night, for us to be so competitive and give a really good account of ourselves, and arguably could have had a couple of goals in the first half in particular, it's pleasing to see the direction we're going in, definitely.
No, it's good to hear, man. It's good, and it sounds like you're punching above your weight. Obviously, in the last couple of rounds, obviously you said you beat opposition above you, narrowly came close to obviously losing out obviously against Darlington. So again, it seems like things are working out in your favour. So I suppose the next question is like, what goes on from here? Obviously, we're coming to a close at the end of this year now. Obviously, COVID's hit this year, striking it off. But what's next for you guys going forward in the future?
I guess the aspirations of the club are probably, there's 2 kind of swim lanes for that. There's obviously the aspirations on the pitch and the aspirations off the pitch. So in terms of on the pitch, I think the aspirations that we really want to see is the club improving. On where we started the season, we want to do better than we did last season in terms of our finish there. We were never really, likely to go down last season, but we were never really challenging, the kind of top half of the table in the playoffs. So we want to be more competitive in the league. The mantra for the club since the first season's been 1 game at a time. So we just want to win our next match, and that's held us in good stead so far because we've had quite a lot of success in a short space of time. We obviously went up in the first season in the Counties Division 1 in the playoffs. 2 seasons after that, and in the end of the 2018-19 season, we won the Premier Division and got into the Northern Prem. So it's just a case of trying to, take our time with things, make steady improvements and just see where we end up really. So in terms of that, the improvements are definitely there. We're looking more competitive. We're looking like a really cohesive unit. I wrote a blog for Darlington in the last few days, and they asked me who the key player was, and I said to them it's kind of a cliche really, because obviously you've got the names like Jack Hazelhurst, Jordan Barrow, who's been brilliant since he came in the summer, centre back or midfielder, the captain Joe McCartan. But I think that the outstanding kind of key player that's been showing so far certainly under Michael Ellison since Elo's come in, it's the team. It's kind of the way that the team functions as a unit, and the way we've been a lot harder to beat, a lot harder to score against, a lot more of a cohesive unit going forward as well. So just making steady improvements in terms of off the pitch. Obviously, the club has aspirations to get their own stadium at some point, and the club are working towards that, which is obviously a fundamental aspect of our progression. And a big thing for the club as well, I alluded to earlier, is we've got all of our community aspects that we do, and that's massively important to us. It's not, obviously, winning football matches is massively important to us as a club. What's equally as important is that we our attitudes and values, and the club really wants to be sure that we're fully replicating the values of our community, of our membership, of the area around us, and being a positive force for good, especially in the current climate. So there's obviously our community contributions, our community organisations that we do with the refugee football, with the mental health football projects, with the kids football. We've got a Get Fit football project as well, walking football. and seeing that aspect of our community, with a lot of our match-going Purps, wanting to get involved in that side of things, and seeing that, making new friends, seeing the work the club's doing with food banks in the community, and the work that the club's doing around this time at the moment. We're doing an appeal to get to ensure that no child goes without a present at Christmas. Obviously in the current climate as well, with people being furloughed and stuff. So it's really important to us that we kick on with this aspect of things, and that we're really focusing on helping our community, especially in the current climate.
No, I love that, man. You know what? I really do. Michael, again, thank you very much for joining me, man. I really appreciate taking time out to come and speak to me. And I feel like I know a little bit more about City of Liverpool FC. When I'm next up in those neck of the woods, man, I'd love to pop in for a game and and all the rest of it. So, yeah. No, I really do appreciate it, man. And again, wish you and the rest of your teammates and the rest of your team a Merry Christmas, man. And hopefully we can just, see the back of this 2020 and go into 2021, hopefully a lot better than this year anyway. Yeah,
same to you. And thanks very much for having us on. We really appreciate it. Cheers.
No, I appreciate it, bro. Thank you very much. And everyone listening, thank you. Make sure everyone subscribes and follows City of Liverpool FC on all social media platforms. And take care of yourselves, and see you guys all soon.